Alright, so this is requested by one of my viewers on the rotation of the Condi-Ranger. Now, if you Google on YouTube, actually, you will find that there are hundreds of videos on how people do the rotation of Condi-Rangers. Now, my one, the way I do it is a little bit different. I like to think so because I don't have, a lot of time for me to watch all of the condition damage ranger rotation out there on the internet, and so the way I do it is probably a little bit different from the things that you see on the internet. But anyway, what I started off with, just before moving on to that one, I'm only showing you the single target one. The reason behind that is because in the meta events, if you're doing the open map events, chances are you'll be facing mob coming in front of you, coming from behind you, and then coming from the side. In that case, that's very difficult for me to actually give you a standard rotation because that doesn't exist. You will have to respond to the event itself, and you have to respond to the mobs around you. And so because of that, for that reason, I like to say for that kind of scenario, use your own judgment, and then just respond to those events accordingly. Now for the single target, obviously because I'm sitting in the arena and I have a lot of buffs going on with me, so it doesn't really reflect the practical approach when you are doing the high-end content in race or in the fractal. And because of that, just keep this as a guideline, right? And when you are doing, when you go out there, you do actual content, it will be a little bit different because chances are you'll be focusing more onto the mechanic rather than just the rotations. And another thing that I also like to add as well is because I don't use food in showing my rotations. I see no reason for me to do it. This is not a DPS benchmark or anything like that at all. It's just me showing you how I would do my rotations. So because of that, I don't use any food, nor do I have the reason to do so. Alright, so another thing about this one is my setup. At the moment, I use the We Heal S1, and you will not see me using that in this environment. Is that it? Because I already copy my pet all of the boons. Now in the practical approach, sometimes I swap in between my We Heal S1 utility healing skill and healing sprint. Reason for that, the reason behind that is because the healing sprint allowed me to cure condition on my allies, and in certain boss I need to use it to be able to reduce the pressure on my healers. That's the whole reason behind that. And when I know for the fact that if my healers or if the mechanic or if certain boss doesn't require a lot of condition curing, then in that case I would just use my We Heal S1 to copy all of the boons on myself to my pet. Now I understand that in the race or in the fractal environment, your pets will probably receive some sort of boons coming from the Condi-Ranger or coming from other people. Now the thing is that sometimes it doesn't, because your pet is standing far away from you, so you might be standing with a group, you might receive more boons from your pets and vice versa. So for that reason, I like to have this one just so that I can copy all of the boons on my pets to myself, and I can give it all of my boons so that it can deal extra damage. And yeah, I already explained about the pet option choice, the links, so I'm not going to go ahead and do it again. Alright, so let's move on with the rotation. So for the first thing first, I will always pop up my sharpening stone. Now the reason why I always pop up my sharpening stone is because the sharpening stone does have a long cooldown, and before I'm engaging the boss, I just like to pop this one up so that it can give me a 10 stack right at the start. And so by the time the boss get into the positions, you have to watch out for the tank as well. So when the boss get into the positions, I can just shoot it without waiting for activating the sharpening stone. Now I have two ways of doing my F2 of the special skill of my pet. The first one is that I pop it up, I pop the F2 after I pop up the sharpening stone. Now just be wary of this, because sometimes when the tank needs to guide the boss to a certain corner, then in that case I highly recommend you don't do it. Yeah, because if you do it, then you will activate your pet's attack on the boss, and that is not ideal when the tank is guiding the boss to a certain spot, or the same principle apply in fractal as well. When nobody is ready and you just go ahead and let your pet attack on that target, that is not good. So the second approach is that after the rotations, I will show you when I use this one, and I usually use it during my swap. So first approach, I pop this and then I pop this, unless I see that the tank is guiding the boss to a certain corner, then I will ignore that. I will just pop this, wait for the tank to get into the spot, and then I pop the entangle. So I pop this one, I pop the entangle, because the entangle provide me with the 5 bleeding, but it does have a long cooldown, so it's like a minute. So I like to pop that one. Then after that, I will pop the crippling shot, and then I swap to the poison volley. Once I finish off with the poison volley, I swap the weapon. In the middle of swapping the weapon, I will pop my pet special attack skill. Yeah, you have to be fast on this, right? Now, or alternatively, after you pop sharpening stone and then you pop the entangle, in the middle of pressing the crippling shot or in the middle of pressing your poison volley, then activate your pet attacks. But I think that the safest way for you is after you pop the sharpening stone, wait for the tank or wait for the boss to get into a certain positions, then you activate the entangle. Right after you activate the entangle, you pop this one right away. Okay, so that's just my way of doing things. Like obviously other people will have different ways, so feel free to share. All right, so this one first, then that one, then pop this, and then in the middle of popping this one, skill 4 of your short bow, then you pop this one. Now the reason why I'm using short bow first before I swap into your axe is because short bow, I like to get these two out of the way first, and I like to stay onto my axe and my torch as much as possible. The reason behind that is because your axe and your torch would deal the most damage. Why is that? Bonfire, 9 burning, 20-second cooldown, very fast, and with the quickness alacrity of the Condi-Ranger, it will reduce down the time for you to activate the skill again. So that one is 9 burning, that's one is 2 burning, that's one is 3 bleeding, that's one is 5 bleeding. As you can see in here, that your axe and torch weapon skill will have a lot of bleeding and condition damage for you to deal on a single target, whereas your bow will only have 1 bleeding and you have 5 poison, that's 6, but you only have a 1 bleeding stack for every time when you fire the auto attack. But that's only good for a single target, right? If you're facing with multiple targets, then it's not good. It's not ideal. That doesn't mean it's not good, but it's not ideal. When you're facing a lot of mobs coming after you, axe and torch will always be the key. But because I use short bow first, so that I can apply 5 stacks of poison, 1 stack of bleeding, then I will swap into the axe and then execute bonfire first. Always bonfire first. The longer it stays, the more damage it will deal over time. Then I'll swap to the torch, then I swap to the Winster Bite, and then I finish off with a split blade. Once I finish off with this blade, I will pop these two, Flame Trap and Viper's Nest. After I finish with these two, then I will just auto attack on my ricochet, and whenever I see the skill pop up in here, I'll just pop any of them. And when I see that the swap weapon already fully finished, then I will swap to the other two to the short bow and finish it off with the two skill 2 and skill 4. And then after, I just wait for any of my skill to off cooldown, then I'll pop them up again. So that pretty much is my rotation. So I think that a lot of people will have a different opinions, and also other ways of playing as well. So feel free to share what are the benefits that you see in your rotation, and what are the the limitation in your rotation. Feel free to share it to the rest of the group. The more that we share, the more that we can learn as from the community as a whole. And again, let me just summarize this again. I don't like forcing you guys to play with my rotation. I'm just giving you guys as a guideline, and also this is not a test or anything. This is me showing you the way I activate my rotations, and for that reason I don't use food anything, and I'm just showing you how I play it. All right, so before I swap to my video of me executing the rotation without me talking, I will summarize step by step once again. So first thing first, I activate the sharpening stone, then I use the entangle. In the middle of using my entangle, then I use the special skill of the pet, or alternatively I will activate sharpening stone in the middle of after activating sharpening stone I can activate the pets as well. So but be wary that it has a limitation. So to be safe, sharpening stone, entangle, activate the pet in the middle of the entangle, then crippling shot, poison volley, swap weapon, bonfire, throw torch, winster bite, split blade, flame trap, viper's nest. I can't English today for some reason. Anyway, viper's nest, and then ricochet, auto attack. Wait until this one off cooldown. I'm sorry, before it's off cooldown, pops any of the skill when they pop up. Then swap your weapon set. Then poison volley, crippling shot. If this one off cooldown, pop it and pop any of these skill when it's off cooldown. So after that point onward, when you see any of these skill off cooldown, just pop them up. When you see this one off cooldown, swap them and full rotation again. Bonfire, throw torch, winster bite, split blade, and then any of these. Yeah. Right. So I hope that helps answer the question. So if you have any comments for me, if you see anything that I can improve upon, feel free to give me your contributions down in the comment section below. I'll look into it. And if you find a better way of, or if you saw anybody that did, a better way of the rotation, feel free to share them in the comment section below as well, so that it can help the community and my viewers as a whole. So thank you, and I will see you later.